why am I shooting in aperture priority and auto ISO even if I am using flash photography? So let's talk about a very powerful and useful feature that's already built in your Sony camera. So hi everyone, this is Jiggy, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So before anything else, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel and would want to learn more about off-camera flash photography or maybe just photography in general, then this channel is for you. So you might want to consider subscribing, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to see some of the images that I've created, you could always find me on Instagram. It's at Jiggy Alejandrino. So this particular video is meant to answer the question how I am able to show a live feed of my camera or how I do my recording. Normally in the studio, I use my Atomos Ninja V, which is connected straight to this camera via an HDMI cable, which then records that HDMI feed. However, when I'm out in the field shooting, it is very difficult to have another external monitor connected to my camera, plus another battery, so it's more things that I really have to think about. Plus with the Atomos, I have to add an external mic so that I can record the audio also. So I found a better solution, and it is within the menu system already of most Sony new cameras from the A7 IV and above. That's the new Sony menu system, plus the Sony Creators app. So what does it do? It actually allows your camera to connect wirelessly to your mobile phone. Now, how is it done? Well, first things first, I normally have this one with me in my bag so that it's very portable. It's basically just a small rig arm with a cold shoe adapter and the Leophoto phone case. And I would normally put it on top of the cold or the hot shoe of my camera. In this case, the Sony, the multi-user interface connector. Now, I would normally have it this way, but I'll mount it this way so that you guys can see it. So this is where my mobile phone connects, like so, right? So when my mobile phone is connected here, all I have to do is basically, well, Face ID so that you guys don't see my password. I will need to record my screen. And how do I do that with my iOS device? Just basically click screen record. With my microphone on, I'll start recording. So by doing this, I am now able to actually screen record whatever it is that my camera or my phone is doing. So with that one, I'll open the Creators app. So once I've opened the Creators app, I will now turn on my camera and it'll search for this Sony A7R Mark V, which is what I'm using now. Now, if you want to learn how to connect the Creators app to your camera, all you have to do is go to this menu here. It's like the second to the last menu, and you go to smartphone connection. So with that, all you have to do is, again, follow the instructions that are prompted. Then you press remote shooting. Once you press remote shooting, it should actually connect. Immediately, you could see that it's connecting to the Wi-Fi that's being transmitted by the Wi-Fi signal that's being transmitted by my camera. So this allows you now to actually use it outdoor. Another practical application of this one is when you're doing studio work, it's actually easier for you to connect it to, let's say, for example, your tablet so that your clients can see the images that you're shooting immediately. So there you see, now it's connected and you can now view all the settings of my camera. So you can see here, it's an auto white balance, you've got aperture priority, and it's also on auto ISO. So you guys might be asking now, why am I shooting an aperture priority and auto ISO even if I am using flash photography? So if you guys are familiar with the channel and you see some of my outdoor videos, you would notice that I would be shooting an aperture priority most of the time and also auto ISO, which now basically I have a few reactions when it regards to that one. They would say, why are you shooting an auto ISO? Why are you shooting an aperture priority? Well, let me explain. Whenever I am shooting outdoor, I want things to be quick and efficient also at the same time. And for me personally, with the way I shoot, it is easier for me to shoot in aperture priority and auto ISO even if I am using flash photography. For this reason, take a look at this one. If you guys are familiar with the channel, you know that that's my shooting area right now. Well, that's my shooting area whenever I am doing demos. You could see that I am actually 3 stops underexposed because of this dial right here, which is exposure compensation. So I can just change my exposure compensation to 0, right? So you could see it. It's at 0, so you could see that's a proper exposure, technically, of what the camera thinks. Now, here's the thing. Whenever I am shooting, I want things fast. So when I'm shooting weddings, let's say, for example, all of a sudden, I'm faced with this type of light right here. I am pretty sure that this type of system, let's say I'm shooting a backlit shot, then I would be shooting like this. This thing is going to be faster than having to manually, well, look, it's actually trying to use cellular data or to keep trying to use Wi-Fi. I'll use cellular data now. But basically what I was saying is that from this one to this, it is actually faster for the camera to compensate for the change of exposure rather than having to change my ISO, my shutter speed, and aperture, which I would have to do if I was just shooting in manual mode. Now, how much control do I have? If I do this, if I want to overexpose it, then all I have to do is click exposure compensation and it's going to overexpose. Do that, it's overexposed, then bring it back down. It's that simple. Now, it's all about mastering the gear you have also, and I know exactly how my gear reacts to certain situations, and I can guarantee when you're shooting outdoor, provided that the light doesn't change drastically, your ISO and your shutter speed will stay within a range of maybe 1/3 stop over and under. So all I need to do is just set my flash power and I'm good to go, because 1/3 stop won't really affect your exposure too much. And if I just want complete control, then maybe I'll do that in the studio. I'll shoot in manual mode, yes, which I do actually. But when I'm shooting outdoor, I always want to compensate with the ever-changing slight changes of your existing ambient light. And those changes, so long as it's not as drastic as from this to this, won't really change your flash exposure too much. So there's nothing wrong, personally, on my part, so long as you understand what you're doing in shooting in auto ISO. And at the same time, I'm using a Sony system. So even if my ISO goes up, I know my images will be clean. So again, it's just a matter of being faster and, for me, being more efficient, especially when I want to just move from one scene to another, which then allows me to do this, then this, without having to adjust my shutter speed, my aperture, and my ISO. The only thing I want to control is my aperture, and that's why I shoot in aperture priority or auto ISO. Now, if you guys might be saying, then you're gonna go on high speed sync and flash sync speed. Well, in that case, normally I would actually go on shutter speed priority and keep my shutter speed within my flash sync speed and let my aperture and ISO be dictated by the camera, or I would just use an ND filter. So if you want to learn more about those things, check out the rest of the videos in my channel. And if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe and click that notification bell. Now, if you have any questions with regards to what I talked about here, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. But don't you just love it? It's a built-in feature in the Sony Camera using your Creator app. You just have to connect your camera to your smartphone and you get a live view here in a bigger screen. And at the same time, you could have it wirelessly tethered to your Android or iOS device or your tablet, which is bigger, which you can show to your clients as while you're shooting, they are actually viewing what you're shooting. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one.